This video was brought to you by Brilliant. As American politics becomes increasingly polarized, or at least feels that way, the question of secession is on everyone's lips. This year, Texas Republicans suggested leaving the states to start their own, bemoaning what they saw as Democrat tyranny at the national level. On the other side of the aisle, when Trump was first inaugurated in 2017, polling found that 32% of Californians supported California becoming an independent country. And there was a lot of excited chatter about what became known as Calexit. Now, neither of these things are likely to happen anytime soon. Not least because a full-on secession would probably require a constitutional amendment and the support of 2/3 of the US House and Senate, as well as 38 state legislatures. However, while full-on accession might be unlikely, that doesn't mean that America's state lines are destined to stay the same way forever. State lines in the US have been relocated many times in American history, and the process is constitutionally pretty simple. It just requires an agreement between the two state legislatures and a majority support within Congress. So, while the idea of a new state might seem far-fetched to you, last month, 2 counties in eastern Oregon announced their intention to leave the state and join a new hypothetical state known as Greater Idaho. And they weren't the first to do this either. There's now a total of 11 counties in Oregon who have voted to join Greater Idaho. And while it's still unlikely to happen in the immediate future, momentum does seem to be building. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Greater Idaho, whether it could actually happen, and why it's probably more likely than you think. To understand why some of Oregon wants to secede, you basically need to look at a county map from any recent election. Take Oregon's election map from the 2020 presidential election, for example. Now, if you didn't know anything about Oregon's geography or population density, or, well, American politics, you probably assume that Trump won here. After all, pretty much every eastern county voted for Trump by a more than 25-point margin. And the only counties to go solidly Democrat are limited to the northwestern part of the state. In reality, however, Oregon voted for Biden by an impressive 16-point margin, with Biden winning about 56% of the vote to Trump's 40%, with the remaining 4% going to Libertarian candidate Jo Jorgensen. All in all, this makes Oregon the 15th most Democrat-leading state in the country, in between New Jersey and Illinois. Now, obviously, this is because Oregon's population isn't evenly distributed. Most of these Republican voting counties in the east are rural counties with low population densities below 20 people per square mile, while the Democrat voting counties are in the northwest, where Oregon's largest cities are located and therefore have significantly higher population densities. By far and away, the largest city in Oregon is Portland, which has a population of nearly 700,000 people and is located in Multnomah County. Interestingly, this means that Multnomah is both Oregon's smallest county by area and its most populous one. Anyway, Portland is staunchly Democrat, which is why Multnomah County voted for Biden by an astonishing margin. Now, if you combine together these votes with other cities in the Northwest, like Hillsborough and Eugene, the Democrat vote outweighs the rural Republicans in the rest of Oregon, especially in the East. However, after nearly 40 years of Democrat domination, Oregon hasn't voted Republican in a presidential election since Reagan in 1984. Many Republican counties in East Oregon have apparently had enough. In the last 18 months, 11 counties in eastern Oregon have voted via ballot initiatives to leave Oregon and join a new state called Greater Idaho, with the latest 2 votes in Wheeler and Morrow coming just last month. A prospective 12th county could join them, due to vote on joining Greater Idaho sometime next year. Now, when Greater Idaho was first dreamt up by frustrated Republicans in eastern Oregon back in 2019, it was supposed to include eastern Oregon and then at least 5 more southwestern Oregon counties. However, after voters in Douglas and Josephine voted against joining Greater Idaho back in May, they scaled back their ambitions to basically the 13 territories in East Oregon and 4 counties in Central Oregon. This means, including Wallowa, they only need 6 more counties to vote for it before they've got the support they need across the required counties. And given that they've got 11 counties to sign up to it in less than 2 years, it's not implausible to think they might achieve it in the next year or so. And if that doesn't sound crazy enough, the proponents of Greater Idaho suggest that as part of what they call Phase 2, Greater Idaho could be expanded to include those 5 counties in southwestern Oregon, and then another 5 rural Republican counties in northeastern California. So that's the plan. But could it really happen? Well, let's start with Phase 1. Winning ballot initiatives in all 17 counties will be difficult, because while they've already won 11, they only actually passed by pretty narrow margins, and they might struggle to convince some of these last remaining voter groups, who would eventually have to vote in favor of cutting their counties in half. If they do succeed in getting all 17 counties to sign up though, the next hurdle will be getting the rest of Oregon to agree to it. While this might sound unlikely, after all, why would a Democrat-led Oregon legislature voluntarily give up more than half of its territory? There are reasons to think they might. The main reason is that Eastern Oregonians are significantly poorer than their Northwestern counterparts, who end up effectively having to subsidize them via taxes. Getting rid of these poorer East Oregonians would increase Oregon's GDP per capita and give the state some more fiscal space to perhaps reduce taxes. The other reason that Oregon's Democrat legislature might be open to Greater Idaho is that Oregon's legislative process is often deadlocked by walkouts from the Republican minority in the legislature. By ditching the Republican eastern counties, this will give the Democrats a walkout-proof supermajority and allow them to get on with governing to their agenda. You get the idea then. While it's hard to see the Oregon legislature agreeing to such a dramatic move in the immediate future, it's at least possible that they might change their minds if enough eastern counties express their intention to join a Greater Idaho. Whether the people of Idaho would like this, and whether it's really going to happen, we'll have to wait and see. And I suppose you'd like me to tell you that everyone here knows what they're doing, and they can see in the future as to whether this new state would be as good as they think. But unfortunately, that's not always the case when it comes to politics. But it can be in your life if you sign up to Brilliant, the STEM learning platform where you can learn everything from quantum computing or algebra to logical decision making, a skill severely lacking in the world at the moment. Now, their logical thinking course might start simple, but it builds, teaching you logical reasoning skills until you're solving problems that previously seemed impossible. And it's the perfect time of year to invest in yourself too. With us heading into a new year, why not improve yourself and keep traveling on a journey of lifelong learning? And you'll get hooked on that empowering feeling of learning too, because this isn't just about memorization or lectures. Brilliant teaches you by doing, using active learning techniques to teach you the principles behind otherwise complex subjects, and ensuring that you actually understand what's going on. And it's not just traditional STEM topics either. There's some incredibly unique and fun stuff on there too, like courses from YouTubers, such as Kurt Skazat on nearby supernova, supervolcanoes, and the limits of humanity, or the brand new course from our nebula friends at Real Engineering. Anyway, if you want to learn more in a fun way, then you should sign up to Brilliant, and the link in the description will get you 20% off an annual premium subscription, which is not only a great deal, but also supports the channel. So, thank you.